What's going on, Dodgers Nation? Breaking news, the Dodgers Nation post-game show is back. We are coming at you live. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. The Dodgers, they get the win. They win their fifth straight over the San Francisco Giants. They win by a score of 8-2. And how about Mr. James? You can't get me out. Man, another big night for James Outman. He goes 2 for 2 on the night. And what a story. Look, we had Fernando Mania. We had Nomo Mania. We had Puig Mania. How about James Outman Mania? James Outmania. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible, the start that he's been on. He scored 2 runs, had a walk, was hit by a pitch. I mean, he's been fantastic for the Dodgers. And look, I don't know if I see a lot of people out there saying, oh, this is about showcasing James Outman. It's about letting teams around the league know that he's available and what you're getting with him. No, look, if the Washington Nationals call and they want James Outman for Juan Soto and their top 4 prospects, I say Andrew Friedman, he slams the phone shut and he cuts the cord. Now, I'm just playing, of course, but we got lots to get into. We're going to talk about the MLB trade deadline, Juan Soto rumors heating up, Pablo Lopez. You got JD Martinez, Brandon Drury, Ian Happ. Tons and tons of activity. To me, this feels like Christmas Eve. But first thing I want to know from you guys is describe James Outman's start with the Dodgers in one word or less. I'm happy to be back, guys. But here we go. Let's get back into the action. Thanks, my man, 5150 Rams. $4.99, Lemon Character moving his head from left to right with his mouth wide open and red hearts in his eyes. Okay, yeah, of course. And then how about that catch by Trey Turner? How about the bullpen tonight? Save for Chris Martin. And I warned you guys over on Twitter. I said that the issue with Chris Martin was the fact that he does give up home runs. He gives up that bomb to Flores, little slider on the bottom corner. He hits it out. But other than that, the bullpen, they really stepped up, didn't allow a hit. Yency Almonte, David Price, Phil Bigford, they all went an inning. Perfect. They all went scoreless. And then how about Caleb Ferguson? He had the punch out. He was fantastic. He ends up getting the win tonight. And then we're going to talk about Andrew Heaney, who had a really solid outing too. 7 strikeouts for Heaney. Got into some trouble there in the first inning. Had struggled with command at times, but yeah, the strikeouts were there. Had success with that slider. 5 of his 7 strikeouts coming via that slide piece. But we have tons to get into, man. How about James Outman? I mean, just really a fantastic start to James Outman's career. And to me, he looks high-key like low-key. I mean, the most powerful sorcerer in all of Asgard is low-key, and he looks powerful right there for the Dodgers. Coming in, having the success that he's having early on, and just check this out. This start he's having is really historic for James Outman. I mean, if you talk about, he's the first Dodgers player to reach base 3+ times in each of his first 2 career games. I mean, it's unbelievable. First Dodgers player to reach base 7+ times through his first 2 career games since Casey Stengel in 1912. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And look, I will warn you that they're going to do some research on him, and you're going to see pitchers learn how to attack him. But that swing is effortless. He's calm at the plate, and I think he definitely has a future. And I think defensively, he has the potential to be really fantastic as well. But hey, excited to jump into these comments, guys. Here we go. What's up, Dodgers Nation? Lynn M. Doug. This kid James is Doug, this kid James is far out, man. I love it. What up, Lynn? How you doing? By the way, if you get the comment of the night, you're going to get a you win. So we're looking for that comment of the night. We're looking for the burn of the night. You're going to hear the finish him. Anytime you got a burn, Astros burn, a Giants burn, whoever you want to burn, a Padres burn, you're going to hit that. And for the hot take of the night, you're going to hear that fire sound. But we got lots to cover, lots to get into, guys. And it's good to be back. JTLA, Stan the Rams fan. Giants lost in the sauce, 19 games back to them bums. Yeah, look, I think the Giants thought it was like an 81-game season or something because they clearly don't have it. The Dodgers, they've just been fantastic. 10 of their last 11 games, scored 7 or more runs, averaging over 5 runs per game, and they got to Logan Webb, and I think that's one of the big takeaways today, and they got to Logan Webb's slider, and you saw what they were able to do. I think one of the great plays for Max Muncie, who owns the San Francisco Giants. The Giants' daddy, Max Muncie, was doing work. His 18th career bomb against San Francisco goes just over the wall, and the Dodgers, really, that was the big story of the game is, in this one, they put up 2 in the second, 3 in the third, 1 in the fifth. And, this Dodger team, they were really outstanding. Freddie Freeman goes 3 for 5. Will Smith goes 2 for 5. And I think it was nice to see Max Muncie. He goes 1 for 3, but did have that home run, the 2-run shot there. But, what are you guys' thoughts? I mean, look, Max Muncie has looked like an automatic out. Max Muncie has really had minimum production this season, but he still brings it against the San Francisco Giants, and you love to see that. But we'll get into this game a little bit, but I think what you guys really want to talk about is what's going on at the trade deadline. Want to get your thoughts on that. So I have a question for you guys, and I want you to fill in the blank. This time tomorrow, Juan Soto will be playing for the blank. Fill in the blank down below. Lots of Soto questions I want to ask you guys. Mr. X, what's up? D-Mac, what up, Mr. X? We got Outman is the 2017 Bellinger. That's from Trace Lamb Outman. Look, I think the thing with that's you're talking about Cody Bellinger. He had 39 home runs that season, won Rookie of the Year, struggled in the World Series, set a record with 17 strikeouts in that series. But yeah, I think that's a little unfair to compare him to Cody Bellinger at this point in his career. But I think that the success that he's had early on, I think yesterday was a special day, and you saw his girl, she was crying. You saw Justin Turner sitting next to his family chugging a beer. Now I'm just playing. I don't know if you saw the breakdown over on YouTube, but yeah, I think it's really exciting anytime a young player can come in and have success. And I don't really think the story with James Outman is, he showcased himself for the Dodgers. By the way, Juan Soto, he crushed a home run off of Max Scherzer. Maybe he was auditioning for the Dodgers today. So I think if you're the success that he's having, I don't think it's predicated on his trade value or anything like that. I think the bigger story there is the future of Cody Bellinger with the success of James Outman, because you talk about Cody Bellinger making $17 million this season. That number is not going to go down with one more year of arbitration. You talk about what James Outman has shown in just a few games. And look, I mean, it's an extremely small sample size, so I want you to be wary of that. But I think that the Dodgers, if they don't make a big move that includes James Outman, I think his future with the team could really take on a bigger role very soon, early on in his Dodgers career. But here we go. Bobby Miller should get called up. That's from Dominic. Yeah, look, Bobby Miller, he's filthy. He's got the stuff. There's no question about it. I've said for a couple years now, at some point, it is going to be Miller time. It is going to be Bobby's world. And, yeah, coming off that best start really at Double-A Tulsa, 11 strikeouts, retired the first 13 batters he faced. And I think the move for him, I think when you look at Bobby Miller, sometimes it's like he's playing with his food out there. It's like he's using those secondary pitches, using that slider, trying to work on that pitch mix. And to me, that feels like it's a concerted effort by the Dodgers. They want him to develop those secondary pitches, so he's using them. And I think that he does play with his food out there a little bit, but I do think that when you look at his raw stuff, he's filthy. He definitely has the potential to be a frontline guy. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, future national James Outman. That's from Juice Narrows. Yeah, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on Juan Soto, what I think the Dodgers should do, some of these other trade candidates that we're going to get into in just a second. But I think the other question, but let me jump into your comments here. I want to see what you guys' takes are. Where are you feeling? How are you feeling? Let's take the temperature on Juan Soto, because look, I think that you look at the package that the Padres can offer. You look at the package that the Cardinals can offer. And then you compare that to what the Dodgers can offer. Look, I mean, if you look at some of these prospects within the Dodgers organization, you're talking about Diego Cartaya, the number 12 prospect in Major League Baseball's MLB Pipeline's top 100. Keith Law just moved him up to his number 4 prospect. Then you talk about Bobby Miller, the number 24 prospect. Then Michael Busch, number 40. Andy Pages, number 45. Miguel Vargas at number 68. The Nationals understand the quality that comes from this Dodgers farm system. This isn't San Diego. The Dodgers, they develop. They have the resources. And I think that if you compare what the Dodgers can offer versus the Padres, C.J. Abrams at the number 21 prospect, Robert Hassel III, their top prospect Robert Hassel III, number 21 prospect, C.J. Abrams, who's another guy that can be a contributor, Adrian Morjon, guy who had that TJ, who had Tommy John surgery, who could be probably a number 3 starter at some point, James Wood, Jackson Merrill, Luis Campusano, the number 52 prospect. You can't match the quality that the Dodgers have. So look, I've talked to a bunch of people today. This isn't a situation where the Dodgers are just trying to drive up the price on Juan Soto. If that's what you're reading, if that's the takes you're seeing, that's just false. That's incorrect. In fact, I've asked some people around that cover the league, some insider types, and they say that just the concept of that is vastly overblown when it comes to the Dodgers trying to drive the price up and this and that. No, that's absolutely not the case. The Dodgers have an offer for Juan Soto because they want Juan Soto. They want him because he's a generational talent. He's a guy that can help them win the World Series, not just this season, not just the next season, but the following season. 3 postseasons with Juan Soto. Look, I don't care how good Diego Cartaya is going to be, how good Bobby Miller is going to be, how good Michael Busch is going to be. You can record this. You can take a screen grab of this. I guarantee you none of them will have a career that will exceed what Juan Soto is going to do. That's a once-in-a-generation talent. You look at his 175 OPS plus since the start of the 2020 season. That leads all of Major League Baseball. Leads Major League Baseball with the most walks, with the least amount of swings outside of the zone. His play discipline is uncanny. And like I said, if you can figure out how to get a player of Juan Soto's caliber and you combine them with Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, and Freddie Freeman, that top 4 is going to be unstoppable. That's a damn near all-star team. And yes, you didn't address your starting pitching, which Fabian Ardaya of The Athletic has already said those aren't mutually exclusive. The Dodgers could theoretically make a move for Pablo Lopez and a Juan Soto. So, look, it's going to get crazy. Let's just put it that way, and I'm going to see what you guys say in the comments. Miss you guys. All right, Soto to the San Diego Padres. Is that a fact? If there's any news, by the way, let me know. Nathan Gold, I wouldn't necessarily feel uneasy about Muncie being traded for Soto. I mean, look, Max Muncie doesn't have a tremendous amount of value, and he has little to no value on a team like the Washington Nationals. He has a club option for next season at $13 million. And the Dodgers, they might say, hey, this year was a wash. He was injured, and he didn't produce, but we see at that contract, we'll pick him up. But another organization that's really in the process of, one, an ownership change, and then also a possible rebuild, I think you're not going to see Muncie or a big league player of that caliber included in a deal for Juan Soto. What the Nationals want is they want big league ready talent that's under team control for multiple years. We're talking young talent. We're talking the Gavin Lux types that are under team control through the 2026 season, the Dustin May types. So Max Muncie is really kind of irrelevant when it comes to a Juan Soto possible trade. Now, obviously, look, there's some other names out there too. I don't know if you guys saw the Dodgers potentially interested in Joey Gallo, who really was an absolute train wreck. He couldn't hit water if he fell off a boat this season. Really went from a three true outcome player to a 1 true outcome player, which was just being automatic out. But maybe just he couldn't flourish in the bright lights of New York City. If you look at his peripherals last season with the hard contact, it's just a big-time drop-off. Joey Gallo also a .217 BABIP this season. So, hey, we'll see. I mean, maybe Joey Gallo just maybe needs to retire and go to his church softball league or the Savannah Bananas or something like that. But, yeah, what are your thoughts on Joey Gallo as a possibility? What are your thoughts on Brandon Drury, Ian Happ, Pablo Lopez? We're going to get into all this, but I'm going to get to these Juan Soto questions here in just a second. Do you guys feel that what's your gut telling you right now? I mean, fill in the blank. This time tomorrow, Juan Soto will be playing for, okay, here we go, no thank you from Boomer Assassin. Dodgers should drive the price to fool the Padres into giving their top prospects. Padres suck. Look, that's the thing. That's the thing that I think is another big misconception. Like, the Dodgers don't need to try to drive up the price for the San Diego Padres. The San Diego Padres and A.J. Preller would give up his whole family for Juan Soto. A.J. Preller is trying to trade their top prospects, some big league ready talent. He's trying to trade SeaWorld. He's trying to trade the San Diego Zoo. He's trying to trade the Channel 4 news team. He's trying to trade the whole Gaslamp district, all the great Mexican restaurants in San Diego. He's going full order 66 down there in SD, as evidenced by the move he made today for Josh Hader. He wants to win now, so I don't think it's a situation where the Dodgers can drive up the price or the offer that San Diego is making any more than they are already at this point. They want Juan Soto. They want to pair him with Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado, and they want to go for their first ever World Series championship. But here we go. Don't you think there's in merit to getting a few high-level talents versus superstar Soto? I mean, absolutely. I think the big kicker there is this organization, what the advantage they have over other organizations is it's not just about drafting and identifying talent in the later rounds that can try to emerge. I mean, just look at right now. I mean, you have so many in the current Dodgers that are starting to emerge that they drafted in the later rounds. You're looking at some players within this Dodgers organization. I mean, Tony Gonsolin, for example, they're sorry guys, lost my comments here. 1 second here. Here we go. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, though, yes, of course you need some depth. You definitely need some depth, but superstars win, okay? Superstars win, and you can just go to any of these trades. Look who they traded in the Mookie Betts trade. Go back and read those tweets. I can't believe they traded away Alex Verdugo. This year, Alex Verdugo, he has a 684 OPS. Connor Wong, a 31 OPS plus. Jeter Downs, a 16 OPS plus. Most of the time when you see these deals, it works out for the big teams. Look at the Tom Seaver trade, the Vida Blue trade. I mean, look at these trades across the board. It always favors the player, the best player in the deal, because you can't replicate that value. You can't get equal value. And what happened? The Dodgers traded for Mookie Betts the very first year where they won the World Series. It's all about the ultimate prize. And the reality is, look, I mean, you talk to people within this organization, they're not content with one 60-game World Series in 8 seasons. Everyone talks about all the success of the Dodgers and this and that, but yes, they want multiple World Series championships. Okay, hard no on Gallo. That's from Dylan here. Yeah, I'm a hard no on Gallo as well, but I think it's really interesting when you kind of look under the hood just how big of a drop-off is. Martin gives up a home run in Dodger debut. Not impressed. That's from Carl. Yeah, how would you grade Chris Martin's Dodger debut? I mean, other than the home run to Flores, did get out of that inning, did have some impressive stuff at times, but yeah, that has been his issue all season long. So the fact that he comes into this game and serves up a bomb as in his first at-bat, in his first inning, that definitely isn't a good omen. But here we go. Gut says Gavin Lux gone. Gut says Gavin Lux gone, and Juan Soto will be a Dodger. Yeah, so the other thing, too, is, look, Gavin Lux, you guys know I've been a big don't trade Gavin Lux guy because he's the contingency plan if Trey Turner walks. But if you trade for Juan Soto, the likelihood of you signing Trey Turner, it increases. I see people out there, oh, if you trade for Juan Soto, how are you going to pay Trey Turner? Look, Juan Soto has a couple arbitration years left. He will be making $29 million in the last year of that deal, but you have to remember this. After the 2023 season, the Dodgers only have money committed to 4 players: Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Chris Taylor, and Austin Barnes. They have put themselves in a position when it comes to long-term financial flexibility to get players like Juan Soto, to get players like Trey Turner. Look, it was just last offseason that they tried to sign Corey Seager for $290 million and Max Scherzer for $72 million. And what did they end up doing? They ended up signing Freddie Freeman for 6 years, $162 million. So look, I wouldn't worry about this franchise's resources. I think if you're out there and you want to see Trey Turner long-term on the Dodgers, right now you should be rooting for a Juan Soto trade. They are BFFs for life, okay? They want to be on the same team. Trey Turner, to The Athletic just earlier in the week, was in the dugout, and Andrew Friedman was there, and he said, hey, if this guy can go get Juan Soto, he's going to go do it. So I think that, yeah, I mean, of course, you don't want to. I mean, Gavin Lux is a future star. I believe that he has the potential to be a perennial multi-time All-Star, but the reality is, scared money don't make none, right? You have to give up something to get something, and I think if you're the Dodgers in this situation, yeah, if they want Juan Soto, which clearly they do, they have the resources, they have the prospects, they have the current big league players, they have the financial muscle to absorb a contract, they have everything that you could possibly need to pull off a deal for a player of this caliber here. But here we go. Diane Schroeder, I second that. Re-sign Trey. Dodgers need to worry about signing, but this thing is that those aren't mutually exclusive. I'm telling you firsthand, those aren't mutually exclusive. It's not either. It's not okay. This is the Matrix. The red pill and the blue pill. The red pill is sign Trey Turner. The blue pill is to trade for Juan Soto. No, it's not either or like that. The Dodgers can do both, and who knows? I mean, maybe that is also a ploy to even show Trey Turner, hey, we were going all out to try to get your guy here in Los Angeles because we know how much you love playing with Juan Soto, and you have talked about possibly linking up later in your careers. This could also be a ploy to try to get that done, or try to get to put themselves in a better position to get that done. Trey Turner will not sign without Juan Soto. That's from Mr. Classic. We got Francisco. Gotta keep away from the Padres. I don't want Soto, but I don't want him on the Padres. Yeah, I mean, there's that as well. Look, the Padres, whatever they do, I'm sure it's going to be a situation where, look, I mean, the thing is, with the expanded postseason, it's not the wild card game where Grisham totally choked, right? This is a wild card game that could be a 3-game series. Okay, so look, if you load up with talent and you look at their rotation, today they got Josh Hader, who really has struggled at times this season, but the velocity is still there, the strikeout numbers are still there, and hey, let's not forget Juan Soto in that wild card game. He got that base hit off of Josh Hader. So if you see that matchup, I'd put my money on Juan Soto. But to get back to the point of the Padres is, look, they're putting themselves in a position where you get into that wild card round. It's not like years past where it's one and done. You're going to have an opportunity to go multiple games. And if you do that, it's the NLDS where it's a 5-game series potentially against the Los Angeles Dodgers. And then you talk about a lineup where if Fernando Tatis Jr. comes back even, 80 or 90% like he's been throughout his career, and then you talk about the year that Manny Machado's having where he was the front runner to be the MVP for a couple months. Now I think it's in Goldie's hands, that's for sure. I mean, you're talking about a very potent big three. And then if you want to pivot to the Cardinals, a team where I think the reason why I'm not as high on the Cardinals right now getting Juan Soto is the fact that they've dealt a lot of prospects. They've unloaded a lot of prospects to get guys like Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, and then you add the fact that you have the injuries to their pitching that they've suffered this season, and I just think that, do they really have the pitching to get it done? So I think that's, to me, the issue I have with the Cardinals as a potential team, as a potential landing spot for Juan Soto. Do they really have the pitching to go over the top and make a move for Juan Soto? I mean, everyone kind of sees the Redbirds as this big powerhouse of a franchise, and historically they're great, but you talk about the injury to Jack Flaherty, you talk about the fact that they don't want to give up Dylan Carlson, and that tells me the fact that you're even trying to negotiate with the Nationals, where it's a pretty cut and dry thing. Either you take our offer, either you give us what we want, or we're moving on. I think that tells me that the Cardinals might be out of it, and it does feel like it's a Dodgers versus Padres race for Juan Soto if he gets traded, and you can go across the board. I've talked to some insiders today. They all feel like there's a more than a 90% chance that they're going to deal him. They're going to deal Juan Soto by 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and I think the big question is, whose prospects do they like the most? Look, who do they actually want? And I think, like I said, we can talk about Diego Cartaya, who's absolutely fantastic, could be the next Mike Piazza, but a better catcher. We could talk about Bobby Miller, who could be a future frontline starter. But, hey, there's other guys in this farm system that are emerging and continue to emerge that before you know it, I guarantee you somehow, some way, if they do trade for Soto, you'll see somehow the Dodgers will end up, oh, wow, Dodgers have the number 6 farm system, then the number 3, and then these prospects who we don't know right now all of a sudden will emerge. I mean, just look at the advancement of Gavin Stone and what he's been able to do. He's emerging. He's rising up in the ranks. So, I mean, the Dodgers, they have the way to develop. I always say the D in Dodger stands for development, and you see that again. And the reason why they developed this farm is to get players of Juan Soto's caliber. So I'm just trying to give you guys all sides of this. I could talk myself into both sides, but the reality is, if you look historically, I mean, look at the Lakers trading for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, if you look historically, when you trade for the player who's by far the best in the deal, it usually works out for the team that gets the better player, the Juan Soto type, the Mookie Betts type. But here we go. Everyone says we need more than Soto, or we need more pitching. We have the best record in baseball. We really don't need anything. Get May and Treinen back healthy, maybe even Walker. Yeah, I mean, look, you're really betting heavily on some of these injured players to come back and perform well. Gavin Lux, Walker Buehler, Dustin May, Blake Treinen said that his shoulder felt good today. So, yeah, I mean, if all these guys come back and they perform up to their capabilities, that changes a lot of things, but you also have to give yourself some insurance in the event that they don't. I think the biggest to me, I always say when it comes to making trades, you have to be less idealistic and more realistic, okay? And the realistic chances that every single one of them is going to come back and perform well. I mean, we even have our doubts about Tommy Kahnle coming back. And who knows, maybe the Dodgers, maybe they try to make a deal for another reliever. I mean, we could talk about the trades that they could be making with the Miami Marlins for Pablo Lopez, who we'll get into in just a second. But here we go. Ohtani to the Dodgers next season. Yeah, you know. Look, I mean, I want to see Shohei Ohtani Showtime in LA, but that clearly is going to happen. But Soto isn't going anywhere. That's from Boomer Assassin. I'd be very surprised. I mean, a lot would have to change for that not to happen. But here we go. What if the Dodgers just called up their prospects instead of trading them? I mean, look, that's the idea, but you're talking about a team that is extremely win now. I mean, you're talking about the primes of Mookie Betts. Freddie Freeman's 32 years old. You might have Trey Turner for just the remainder of this season. There's a time to hug prospects. Trust me. There's also a time that you want to cash in and win now. I mean, isn't the point to win the World Series? I mean, that really is the ultimate goal, right? I'll take Trey all day. Extend Trey, pass on Soto. Like I said, those aren't mutually exclusive, guys. Pigeons, we got Padres getting Soto is a worst-case scenario. We got, that's from FaZe Sports. Richard, Padres getting, that's actually Richard Burris. Padres getting Soto is a worst-case scenario. Kimbrel is no Edwin Diaz. That's not a closer. Gary A, put Taylor at second base. They manage with Lux. That's from Gary A. Yeah, I mean, I think that's really interesting. Gary brings up a really interesting point because, yeah, I mean, what are the chances that you start to hear that in the last few weeks where Chris Taylor, who, of course, he's on the IL with that fractured left foot, he hit a ball off his foot against the Padres a few weeks ago, and then you hear about the fact that they're going to start using him in the infield, right? And throughout this entire season, he's been playing solely outfield because of an off-season procedure he had to clean up some stuff in his elbow, and they didn't like the arm angles to possibly lead to another injury. So the fact that they're saying, no, we're going to actually have him in the infield now, that's very interesting because that would be theoretically the move is to plug him in at second base, and then you have Juan Soto in left field. So you got an outfield of Mookie, Cody Bellinger, and Juan Soto. But here we go. Joseph Megazzeni, just don't give them Outman. Yeah, hey, man. Look, man, it's pretty unbelievable the success that he's had last couple days, and you just hope that he continues it, man. He's a really cool guy, man. You can tell by his demeanor out there. The moment's not too big for him, and you really just love his easy swing, not trying to do too much. And I think that he's going to have success in this league. And when I think that one of the most impressive things about James Outman is the fact that he is a defender. He's a guy that can be a plus defender in this league. And you love players like that because there's always going to be a place for them if they can find a way to consistently hit big league pitching. You combine that with his defense, he could be a guy that could really be in this Dodgers organization and thrive for years to come. But then, hey, if you're the Nationals or another team out there they might be dealing with, because, yeah, I mean, we got to talk about some of these other possible deals too in just a second. They're going to see what's been going on. They're just going to see that he looks like a guy that can really thrive at the big league level. They're going to want him included in a package for whoever the Dodgers are trying to get. But, yeah, I really hope they don't trade him, though. D-Mac, what do you think about Bauer now knowing Watson's NFL suspension? I mean, I think that when it comes to Trevor Bauer, I think the thing is, like I said, I mean, I don't like to make any comments on things that I just don't know factually when it comes. I just don't like to, basically I just don't like to BS, okay? There's a lot of people out there talk out of their ass, this and that, this and that. The reality is that most people don't know the situation with Trevor Bauer. Most people don't know exactly what's going on between him and Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred. But the reality is that when it comes to the arbitration process and how delayed it's been this entire season, it's very unlikely that they're going to get him back for this year. And I just think that they're going to push that into the offseason, and that's going to just continue to drag out. I mean, you talk about the suspension that Major League Baseball levied out to him. I mean, that's a tall suspension there. I mean, he was suspended for 2 seasons. I mean, 324 regular season games. So they have to work that out. But, yeah, 2 very different leagues, Major League Baseball and the NFL, 2 very different situations. You do have 2. I mean, the commonalities are you have high-profile athletes that are involved in allegations off the field. But I think at the end of the day, I think the most important thing really is that they get something figured out and they get a resolution as soon as possible. I think that's what's best for all parties involved. But I think just the reality is, like I said, you got to keep it 100 with yourself at all times, is that the odds of him coming back this year, obviously, not going to happen. But here we go. CT3 will be hard to bump out James Outman. Give me Outman F. Soto. You guys are all about James Outman. I'm loving it, man. Look, James Outman is the man. What can I say? Can we trade Kimbrel for a sack of corn and wheat and a couple chickens? Francisco, I don't know if they do that deal. I mean, maybe for a full tank of gas and a bag of Doritos and a Subway gift card for $5 and a used Razor scooter from 2003, maybe. Lux is better than Taylor, the legend of Nene. Yeah, if you look at bat-to-ball skills, I mean, Lux has had a really good year. I mean, Gavin Lux has really shown that he can hit big league pitching, but he can do it consistently. And I think that's kind of the big difference for Gavin Lux. He's cut down on that strikeout rate, and he's just a quality at-bat out there, and he doesn't look lost like he did last season. If you look at his numbers, I mean, a 299 batting average heading into tonight, a 130 WRC+. I mean, he's really just taken an absolute massive leap this year, and you really love to see it because he's put in the work. But and Mookie at second base, yeah, Steve Carter has another good point. I think that's really kind of to reduce the wear and tear when it comes to Mookie Betts. But Soto is 23 years old. Outman is 25, Mr. Classic. That's kind of crazy when you think about that because, yeah, he is 23. Well, in Dominican baseball years, that means he's 35. But not playing. But yeah, that's wild when you say it like that. No, I don't think we need Soto. That's from Steven. He's better than Mike Trout. He's better than Mike Trout. Outman proved it tonight with the bat and defense. Yeah, great point, Diane Truder. He absolutely showed that he can be a two-way player, and there's always room for guys in this league that have shown they can do that. But here we go. Cody came in the bigs and tore it up early too. Could be a gem. Yeah, I think for me it's like I'll have fun with the James Outman situations. Like I said, James Outmania. I think it's great. No, look, James is tough to get out, man. I mean, he's just what he's been able to do early on is fun to watch. But like I said, it's such an incredibly small sample size. You're going to see opposing teams learn how to attack him, and we'll see how he deals with his first slump because slumps are inevitable. But yeah, it's just fun to kind of have just another great storyline heading into this year. Yesterday became just the 4th Los Angeles Dodger to hit a home run in his first at-bat, just the 8th Dodger in history to accomplish the feat. So that's definitely something to be excited about. But here we go. D-Mac, are we going to have a crowded bench soon? That's from Lucio Enriquez. Look, I mean, we're going to see just kind of how this whole entire situation plays out. I think this time tomorrow we're going to have a lot of clarity. I think right now it's got to be probably a little bit of I mean, these guys are all professionals, but yeah, it's going to be probably a really uneasy feeling there in that Dodgers dugout in the Dodgers clubhouse, knowing, hey, some of these guys could be shipped off tomorrow and included in deals for other players. But yeah, when you talk about a roster crunch, they're going to have to figure things out. I mean, they have 8 guys on the 60-man IL, on the 60-day IL, and Dustin May, he's set to return in probably 2-3 weeks from now, and then you're talking about Edwin Rios, who's already on a rehab assignment. So Edwin Rios, look, let's not forget, he was having a lot of success early on this season, showing a lot of power from the left side, great against right-handed pitching, and yeah, you kind of figure that that whatever the Dodgers do in this situation, that they're going to find a way to clear out that bench. I mean, when you talk about a Hanser Alberto, who before a couple weeks ago, I was calling him the highest paid mascot in all of sports. Before that, I mean, he was really struggling. Yes, it was nice that he had a defined role in this team, can play multiple positions on the infield, was supposed to have those really elite bat-to-ball skills where he doesn't strike out. But, yeah, I mean, hasn't done very much. And if the Dodgers want to upgrade that position by bringing in an Ian Happ type from the Chicago Cubs, and I think when you talk about Ian Happ, and we'll start to get into him, with Ian Happ, you can also talk about a deal where you get Ian Happ and one of their relievers, maybe a David Robertson. A lot of you guys don't want to see Craig Kimbrell as your closer, and David Robertson is a guy that can go in and he can really help this Dodger team. And the Dodgers have already done a deal with the Cubs for Chris Martin, and David Robertson's a guy that can help. But what are you guys' thoughts on Ian Happ? Do you guys like the idea of the Dodgers making a trade for Ian Happ? Because San Diego, they're also involved in trade talks for him as well. So what's the Haps on Happ? Let me know down below. Billy Bean from Vic. We got D-Mac from John D. Outman, greater than sign Babe Ruth. That's the comment of the night. That's from Box Score Hub. Comment of the night, Outman, greater than sign Babe Ruth. But Diane Truder looks like he's thinking about the trade deadline tonight. That's interesting. I was kind of paying close attention to his body language out there. I mean, look, these guys are all professionals. They understand that baseball is a business, and at the end of the day, they're going to go out there and try to perform to the best of their capabilities. So, interesting theory, though. Careless Whisper, no Soto tonight. Lux's mentality was is out. Jay Silva, Chris Martin gave up a home run tonight. And then we got Michael Outman is on the playoff roster. That's going to be interesting when he gets down to it. I mean, of course, you're going to have Austin Barnes on there no matter what. And I think the big question is, will they add another bat? Will they find a way to get a deal done for J.D. Martinez, who I really love the idea of adding J.D. Martinez because not only is he a really effective bat, especially against left-handed hitters, a 1,062 OPS versus lefties this season. I also love the fact that he is postseason certified. He has a 987 postseason OPS. And then also, he's basically a pseudo hitting coach. He's a pseudo hitting coach there in that Dodgers dugout, and I think he'd be great for team morale. He's a clubhouse leader. Of course, you have the connection with Robert Van Scoyoc and Mookie Betts, and he's a guy that really has shown that he can hit postseason pitching. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are getting caught up in right now is, yeah, I mean, do you have to really upgrade a Hanser Alberto or any of those? But look, let me remind you of the nightmares of last season when you had Steven Souza Jr. and Andy Burns having at-bats in the NLCS, okay? I mean, the depth wasn't there, and they just look outmatched by elite relievers, and that's really what the game is becoming, the Matzik types. I mean, you're seeing the game increasingly become a battle of the bullpens with the starting pitchers, their innings pitched. This season, it's at 5 2/3 innings, and that number continues to go down. So you're really playing matchups, you're really playing against elite relievers, and that's really why the Dodgers have had a lot of success in this stretch right now because they've been because of what they've been able to do with their starting pitchers. They average 5.92 innings pitched per start in July, a 2.63 ERA. But what do you really think about Juan Soto? That's from Mondo. I mean, what I really think is I think the Dodgers are a lot more involved than a lot of people realized just a few days ago, yet everyone basically regurgitating the take about them wanting to just drive the price up and this and that, but I'm telling you, that's just not the case. I mean, the Dodgers definitely want Juan Soto, and they definitely, it's not about, I mean, think about this. How crazy is that? I mean, if you're buying a house, and trust me, I'm not a homeowner, I'm a renter, but if you're trying to buy a house, especially in LA, it's not like you just go to the house store and say, hey, can I get this house? And someone rings up the house and it's just one set price. No, that's not how it works. You see a house you like and you make an offer on it. And then that owner, they have to decide, one, do they like your offer? Do they like you? Do they want to sell it to you? And it's just a process. That's not how it works. And I'm sure the Dodgers, they realize what was at stake for Juan Soto. What kind of package were they looking for, whether it be the Dodgers' top 4 prospects plus Gavin Lux, whether it be their top 4 prospects and the Dodgers absorbing a Patrick Corbin deal. I mean, I think if you want to keep Gavin Lux as a contingency plan, if you can find a way to take on that Patrick Corbin contract that still has $59 million on it and you keep more of your assets, I think that's another reason why you like the Dodgers in this situation, because they've proven they'll spend. They've proven that they have the financial muscle to absorb a contract of that magnitude. We saw them do that in the Mookie Betts deal where they were paying half of David Price's salary. But here we go. Time for an Outman bobblehead. I like that one. That's a comment of the night there too. Anthony Keene, I dig Ian Happ, but if Thompson keeps it up, we don't necessarily need him. Yeah, I think, look, man, it's all great to kind of be in the moment with all, I love the I think you're right. I think the Dodgers are going to be fine either way, but there's a reason why this organization is out there, and there's a reason why they're trying to upgrade their roster. I mean, just look what the Yankees did. I mean, the New York Yankees, they got the best starter available, not named Luis Castillo today, when they traded for Frankie Montas. Last week, they added Andrew Benintendi. You got teams out there. Look at the Houston Astros. Today they traded for Trey Mancini. They also got Christian Vasquez. You have teams out there that are making upgrades not because they want to win their division, not because they want to win a pennant. They're upgrading their rosters because they want to win a World Series. And that is what this is all about. That is the game's ultimate prize. And the reality is, you're not going to remember anything. You mean you will, but look, at the end of the day, it's about winning a World Series. That's why everyone plays this game. That's why everybody's involved in this game. But yeah, getting back to Ian Happ, some things I really like about him. One more year of team control, so he'll still be around for next season. Great positional versatility, making $6 million this year, set to make $10 million the following season. This year he's really cut down on his strikeouts, a 159 WRC plus versus lefties, a 920 OPS, a 463 BABIP as a righty, by the way. BABIP gods have really blessed him. And yeah, I think the negatives are you have Chris Taylor, and if Chris Taylor works out, he's a guy that Chris Taylor is definitely a guy that you saw last year. We saw Taylor, what he accomplished against the St. Louis Cardinals, and I think that, yeah, I mean, you bring in a guy like Ian Happ, I just don't like that extra year. I want to maintain that flexibility to try to sign guys like Trey Turner and to try to just have more options available. But Happ definitely at $10 million, if he performs like this, he made his first All-Star team. I think that that's still a guy who can go out there and help you next season. I think his bat, if you look at the numbers, it's a little overrated. The power numbers are actually down from when he hit a career-high 25 bombs next season. But here we go. I need Juan Soto from Fernie Baller. Outman rotate at center. With Belly, the competition will make him step up. That's from Doug. Yeah, I think that's something that kind of hit me yesterday, Doug, was, yeah, I mean, look, that is definitely what it's all about. I mean, you want to have that competition, and Cody Bellinger, he's a guy that really, if you have him on his heels, what I always say is, no competition, no progress, man. I mean, I think that Cody Bellinger is seeing that there's another guy that can do what he does and maybe at a better level right now that could motivate him. But at the same token, if I'm Cody Bellinger, I'm saying, hey, put me in the postseason, and you're probably going to get a clutch base hit. Last year, a 907 postseason OPS for Belly. That was second to Chris Taylor amongst all Dodgers, and he was terrible in the regular season last year. So for whatever reason, when the brights are the lightest, Cody Bellinger performs. He's going to give you clutch home runs and clutch base hits. So that's something that you don't know. It's uncharted waters with a James Outman. I mean, that's a tall ask to ask a player like that to just step into that role and expect him to perform in the postseason when it's a completely different ball game. But here we go. I hope they don't bring up Outman. I hope Diane Schroeder. I hope they don't. I hope they didn't bring up Outman to showcase him for a trade and include him in a trade. Yeah, I mean, there's always that kind of stuff. But really, it was just, I mean, the fact was that they needed him, and they traded Zach McKinstry for Chris Martin, so that roster spot was open. So I don't think it was any of that. And plus, I mean, yeah, it's kind of nice. I mean, you have 2 games, but what some more organizations are going to be like, oh, we saw him in 2 games, we'll take him. I mean, come on now, you know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of not how it works. I mean, you don't, you test drive a nice car, you don't, just buy it right off the lot. I mean, you kind of want to look around. I think that these organizations are so advanced these days, and they're so steeped in analytics that they know players better than they know themselves, and they know every single player in the league. And these scouting, this goes like months in advance, and I think that the fact that you have scouts around the league looking at other players even this late in the game, it tells you that there's been a lot of homework done around the league. But here we go, get a closer. Hey, man, I was talking about David Robertson, kind of getting back to the Ian Happ point. If they did want to trade for Ian Happ, you could have them give you a David Robertson. David Robertson is one of the top closers available at the deadline, in the 89 percentile in strikeout rate, a 30.9 K percentage. So he strikes out a lot of guys. He gets a lot of whiffs. 11% walk in the 11th percentile in walk percentage. So walk rate over 11%. That's definitely not something that you want to see. But, I mean, that curveball's filthy. Opponents are hitting 64 against his Uncle Charlie this season. They're hitting 56 against his slider. He throws that cutter, so he's a big cutter, curveball, slider guy. And, yeah, if you want to do a deal, I think the Dodgers are going to look for that value potentially with an Ian Happ and a David Robertson, with a Pablo Lopez, which we haven't talked to and we'll get into right now, and one of their relievers. Because I think the Miami Marlins is a team that you really want to go out there and you want to kind of raid. You want to raid what the Marlins have, because the Marlins, they're a team that have a lot of assets. They're looking to be sellers. They're looking to add a bat. And, yeah, Pablo Lopez, yeah, I want to get your thoughts on that. Soto, really, from Daryl Pine, LOL. They don't want CT3. No. We need CT3. That's from Rams 5150. Ken Wheat, if getting Soto convinces Trey Turner to stay, it would be a good move. Like to see them keep Lux and Bobby Miller, but that's probably a long shot. Look, you got to give up something to get something. You can't keep them all, but it just depends on the player. I mean, look, do you trust Andrew Friedman or do you not trust Andrew Friedman? I mean, he wouldn't be involved in trying to upgrade these rosters if he wasn't willing to part ways with some of his prospects. And I talked to someone today that is an insider down at the minor league level for the Dodgers, and I asked him point blank. I said, hey, would you be willing to gut the farm system for Juan Soto? And he said, look, even if you even if you have to include your top 4 prospects, even if you have to include guys like Diego Cartaya and Bobby Miller and Miguel Vargas and Andy Pajes and Michael Busch, even if you have to include those players, this farm system isn't gutted. You can't gut the Dodgers farm system because there's so many players that are currently being developed and coming up through the pipeline. So that's just the reality. The golden goose, and the reason why the Dodgers farm system is so successful is because the Dodgers have put a great emphasis on everything from player development, from coaching to dieting to just everything involved with the player, and to try to optimize and maximize what they have, the Dodgers are doing. So you really have to trust this organization. Like I said, there's not a lot of players I would consider giving up my top 4 prospects for, but I think that if the Dodgers were in a situation where the Nationals said, hey, here, can we have your top 4 prospects? You give us Juan Soto. I guarantee you Andrew Friedman and the Dodgers are going to accept that deal. That's just the reality, okay? And they realize that you want top-end talent, and just think about that core. You would have, at least for one more season, Trey Turner in the postseason. I think you increase your odds of extending him, of signing him to a new deal. You have Mookie Betts locked up until the year 3000, and Freddie Freeman for the next for 5 more years after this year, for 6 seasons total. So when you talk about a core like that, you really feel good about your offensive production from that group. But here we go. Trade for Pablo or Shane Bieber, the legend of Nene. Bobby Miller shouldn't be traded. The Rockies will pass the Giants from Jay Silva. Big Blue, live and I out. Helmuth. Strider Hugh. Cody B might need a change of scenery. I don't want him to go. Bellinger needs to pick it up. Yeah, I think that could be something. Like, I think Cody Bellinger has had a lot of pressure on him. I mean, when you talk about the fact that he won the MVP in 2019. He was a guy that was a Rookie of the Year winner. He had success in the postseason, hitting one of the most iconic home runs in franchise history when he went deep off of his new teammate Chris Martin in Game 7 of the 2020 World Series. He robbed Fernando Tatis Jr.'s lunch money when he was Cody Bellinger because of it was robbery right there. And the fact that, yeah, maybe a change of scenery could help him ease the pressure. But he is under one more year of team control. The organization, they're very fond of him. He's one of the most popular Dodgers in the clubhouse, a big glue guy, one of those guys that really is the milk to the Dodgers cereal in that clubhouse. But at the end of the day, I really firmly believe this organization, they're so committed to winning that if there's any move out there that they believe will give them a better chance to win the World Series, they're going to make that move. This is not about being sentimental. This is not about being afraid of hurting someone's feelings or anything like that. This is a business, and these guys are paid to make big decisions when it comes to player personnel. And you got to be shrewd, okay? And Andrew Friedman, last year he traded his 2 top prospects for Scherzer and Trey Turner. So they've proven in the past that they're willing to go all in, and they're not afraid to trade their prospects to get win now town. I think that's got to be the big takeaway. D-Mac, bring back Zach Greinke. Strider, hear you. I would love to see Zach Greinke back. I think he should be a Hall of Famer one day. Be great to see him just sitting on the mound, just doing weird stuff. But, yeah, as far as what he can do on the mound, I don't think he really moves the needle as a pitcher that can help this team win. But Robertson looks so bad against the Dodgers. That's from Tim Rogers. Yeah, I mean, that to me is like a plan C or D. I think that to me is the move that I am not as high on. I would rank it as one of the last moves that I would do if I was the Dodgers. I think, to me, if you're not going to get a starting pitch, I think Pablo Lopez is interesting. And I talked about it. Actually, I talked about Pablo Lopez a few months ago. And, yeah, I think the interesting thing is, he is under team control for another 2 seasons. We don't know what's going to happen in the future with Clayton Kershaw is going to be a free agent. Andrew Heaney is going to be a free agent. Tyler, the outs creator, is going to be a free agent. Tyler Anderson. How will Walker Buehler bounce back? How will he respond? How will Dustin May respond? A lot of questions with this rotation. So to have a guy that can help you fortify the future of your rotation, I think it's very interesting. I think when it comes to Pablo Lopez, if you look at his ERA, a 3.33 ERA since 2000, give me a yes or no, by the way, down below in the comment section. Do you think the Dodgers should trade for Pablo Lopez? I think they should try to trade for Pablo Sanchez of Backyard Baseball, if you ask me. But no, do you want to see the Dodgers make a move for Pablo Lopez? Let me know down below in the comment section, and we're going to get into some Pablo Lopez and Miami Marlins talk. I got a super chat up here from my man Duck. Pair character doing a classic mic drop. Thanks, Doug. $4.99. I'll put that towards Trey Turner's contract. I'll put that to some Modell's and carne asada fries, too. Great takes, D-Mac. Hey, thanks, Doug. I appreciate you, man. Always rocking with us. Trey Taylor, that's from Isaiah Munoz. We got Michael Bellinger. A reliable closer is Aroldis Chapman. He is no longer the closer in New York. Yeah, it's kind of rough to see what's going on with Aroldis Chapman. I think he's a guy that another guy that really we might want to start getting that LinkedIn resume together. I mean, yeah, he's not the closer anymore for that team, and yeah, his drop off has been pretty significant. But yeah, here we go. We got how you feel about Hader to the Padres. I really think it's a bold move. I think that if you look at the prospect cost, number 7 prospect, along with some other pieces, it was definitely a bold move by the Padres. And I think that the thinking there, if you're the Padres, is yes, the ERA is over 4, but if you go deeper into some of his numbers, and ERA, like I said, don't pay too much attention to ERA when it comes to evaluating relievers. But when it comes to Josh Hader, my question is the velo down? Is it up? It's actually up. It's still consistent. If you look at his strikeout numbers, they're still up. The big issue with Josh Hader, like with Chris Martin, is he struggled keeping the ball in the yard. He's given up too many home runs this season, but I think the Padres realize that he has the kind of stuff that plays up in the postseason. And I think that Hader, is he a guy that always performs well in the postseason? He has had some moments where he hasn't come through. Just ask Juan Soto in the wild card game. Even Cody Bellinger going deep on him in the regular season as well. So I think that Josh Hader and the Padres, it makes sense for them because they're looking for those arms that can really step up in October when it matters most. And he's a guy that can mow guys down and miss bats. So I do think it's an interesting move. I think a lot of people, when it comes to Josh Hader, they're sipping that Haterade, that's for sure. And I do think that everyone's kind of staring at that ERA that's north of 4, worst of his career. But if you kind of get deeper into some of his numbers, that you're looking that he actually has, he should be performing better than he really is. And I think that he'll probably get back to that. I mean, if you look at his FIP, it's at 327, his expected FIP at 241, and a 41.8 strikeout rate. He still has the 3rd highest strikeout rate among qualified relievers in Major League Baseball. So I do think that Josh Hader is a guy that can be an impact bullpen piece for the Padres, a bold move by a GM and a team that's trying to do anything they can to win now. But here we go. I want Soto to LA for prospects tomorrow. That's from Pac-Man. Shane Bieber supremacy. I like that. We don't need Soto, so I would not give Washington anything. That's from Marco Strider. We traded Scherzer and Turner, but we did not gut our whole farming system, so that's a big difference. I mean, like I said, yes, you are cutting off the top of the muffin top right there. You're cutting the top of the cupcake off if you're trading away your top 4 prospects, but there's still going to be depth within this farm system, and like I said, you'll see names emerge. You'll see the Dodgers. They'll work their magic, and they'll find ways to get guys in situations where they can rise up the ranks. I mean, look at Gavin Stone. Look at the meteoric rise that he's had. So I think that I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, the reality is, if you just look at the numbers, that when you talk about the Dodgers' top 4 prospects, more likely than not, most of the 2 out of the 4 aren't going to work out. Okay, that's just the reality. It is a numbers game. They are lottery tickets. You go to 7-Eleven, right? Get a lottery ticket. You got to scratch it off. Sometimes you go win $5. Sometimes you win $100. Sometimes you win nothing. They are lottery tickets at the end of the day, and you just never know with prospects, especially when it comes to pitching prospects and catchers. You don't know the lifespan of their careers, and you just want to put yourself in a position where either you have those guys that fill needs and you develop them and you try to avoid log jams, then come up and contribute. And then you also try to cash in on players that can help you win now. And really that's kind of the bottom line when it comes to having a good farm system. I think a lot of people would think that, people have these farm systems just so they could develop talent to have their homegrown talent. I mean, look at this homegrown talent. I mean, is Freddie Freeman a Dodger? Was he developed by LA? No. Was Mookie Betts? No. Was Trey Turner? No. Yes, they have a lot of examples of homegrown talent. And also, I even consider, Chris Taylor and Justin Turner. Yes, they weren't drafted, developed by the Dodgers, and Max Muncie as well. But they were reclamation projects that the Dodgers really helped find a way in their careers. But yeah, I mean, Cody Bellinger, homegrown, Walker Buehler. I mean, there's plenty of examples, but I think that you also have to look at your farm system as a resource to develop talent and use that talent to flip them for assets to help you win now. And I think the Dodgers, they have proven that that's exactly what they do. And yes, sometimes you're going to get the O'Neal Cruzes. Yes, you're going to get the Yordan Alvarez's. By the way, today is actually the anniversary of when the Dodgers traded Josh Fields for Yordan Alvarez. And yes, in retrospect, I think all the hindsight hyenas, as I call them, they're going to fault the Dodgers for that one. But the reality is, look, they didn't even see him play in a game. Josh Fields, it really does hurt because he was the guy that, of course, gave up those home runs in Game 2 of the World Series against the 2017 Astros. But for the most part, he did perform pretty well. And then, yeah, look, it just happens. I mean, look at Delino DeShields and Pedro Martinez. You're going to be on the wrong side of trades. There's no question about it. But also, look at Manny Machado for Yasniel Diaz. I mean, a lot of these trades, they usually benefit the team that gets the better player, and that's just the reality. But all prospects are not like Outman, Diane Schroeder. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm as high on James Outman as the rest of you guys, and look, right now there's no one that no one's talking about James Outman really as a possible piece in a move. But yeah, getting back to Pablo Lopez, some other thoughts on that. Like I said, the kind of thing I really like about him too is he's got that very effective changeup. I mean, he's basically a top 25 starter is what he is, a 227 opponent's batting average since 2020. That's 15th in Major League Baseball. And with Pablo Lopez, it's fun to watch him pitch because you see him attack early. He works the bottom of the zone. You'll see him dart a fastball at the bottom of the zone, and then he'll throw that changeup just a little bit lower to get that swing and miss, to get that whiff. And if you've seen the success that Tyler Anderson has had this year for the Dodgers, Pablo Lopez is a guy that can have that same success with that effective changeup because that changeup is really a money pitch for him. But I think there's some cons when it comes to Pablo Lopez, and one of them is that he's already at over 118 innings pitched, and that's already far exceeded his career high. He's blown past his career high in innings pitched. Also, he is starting to kind of fade a little bit. It looks like he's running out of gas a tad bit. In July, a 4.65 ERA. So does he have enough left in the tank? I mean, is he starting to go on E? I don't know about you guys, but when I see the gas light on, I usually drive for another 25 miles, and then I end up calling AAA, and they end up putting a gas tank in it for me to get to the local gas. No, I'm just playing. Has happened, actually. But with Pablo Lopez, a 4.65 ERA in July. Also, he just got rocked in his last start against the New York Mets. He gave up a season-high 12 hits, 4 extra base hits against the Mets, and he doesn't have that stuff that is going to overpower or dominate hitters. And to me, the reason why I was interested in a Luis Castillo trade, where after you saw the haul they got, I'm not as interested. They gave up 3 of their top 5 prospects for Luis Castillo, is I think the Dodgers could benefit from that added dimension of having a dominant starter, and Pablo Lopez doesn't really bring that element, but he is very effective. I mean, if you look at his strikeout rate, a 24.7 strikeout rate, he's a guy that he generates a lot of swing and miss in the zone with that changeup. And he's another guy that I think if you couple with one of the Marlins relievers, I think the Marlins have a lot of relievers that I would love to see on the Dodgers, from Anthony Bass, power right-handed pitcher, right-handed bullpen piece, to Tanner Scott, to Stephen Okert. I mean, he's another guy. I mean, 98 miles per hour, has that filthy slider. So, and those are 2 left-handed options. So they could add Scott or Okert. Those are really nice options. And then Anthony Bass. And we've also heard the Dodgers name involved with Garrett Cooper, who's definitely not a mini Cooper, standing at 6'5". And a lot of people saying, yeah, Garrett Cooper lacks power, and he definitely does. Definitely leaves a lot to be desired from a power standpoint. He's not a big slugger, and he has struggled against lefties this season. Garrett Cooper, a 597 OPS versus lefties, but for his career, 801 versus southpaws, an 801 OPS versus southpaws, had a 971 OPS versus lefties last season. And I think with Pablo Lopez, if the Dodgers are actually going to bring him in, I think you'll see a situation where they'll just want to put their starters in the best position to have a lot in the tank when it comes to the postseason. You don't want to see them run out of gas like they did with Walker Buehler and Max Scherzer, who arm died in the postseason, to Julio Urias, who ran out of gas. I think what you'll see, you'll see them piggyback some starts, maybe with Tony Gonsolin and Dustin May and Tyler Anderson. I think he's been a big-time innings eater himself. And I also think you'll see him skip starts, too, for extra rest. So that's another thing. But to me, Pablo Lopez, I'm just not super high on him. He's had a shoulder injury 3 out of the 4 of his 4 last seasons, and he's never made more than 22 starts in his career. Like I said, already 118 innings pitched this year. To me, the way I want to see this trade deadline go down is if they're going to add a bat, I go JD Martinez 1 and Brandon Drury 2. Of course, outside of Juan Soto, I'm talking about more realistic ones. But I think when you talk about Brandon Drury, he's a guy that provides some power. He rakes against lefties. So far this season, he's been a beast of 1,048 versus lefties. And he's going to be a free agent after this season. He's versatile, plays all kinds of positions, third base, second base, first base, shortstop, right field, DH. He is slumping in the second half, but I do like the fact that he is going to be a free agent after this season. But is he postseason tested? The answer is no. JD Martinez, that would be the first bat that I would want if it's not Juan Soto. I think JD Martinez, if I had to do the power rankings, I go JD Martinez first. I love the postseason ability. He's gotten it done when it matters most in October. I love everything he brings, from a clubhouse leader to a pseudo hitting coach to the fact that he rakes against lefties. He has had some issues lately. He was going through an 0 for 28 slump, but he did hit 2 doubles yesterday. He's just a great hitter. I mean, you throw him into the Dodgers, it's going to reinvigorate his career. And I think that you pair him with his old hitting coach, Robert Van Scoyoc, who he credits for really helping him get to that all-star level. I think that just would be a major pickup for the Dodgers. So I'd go JD Martinez, Brandon Drury, then I'd go Ian Happ, then I'd go to a Garrett Cooper type. But to me, I think that I go JD Martinez, I go Brandon Drury, and then when it comes to starting pitchers, I mean, really there's just no one out there that moves the needle. I mean, not many needle movers that would supplant any of these current starters in the rotation. I think Pablo Lopez does make sense when you talk about his team control, but anytime you have more team control, you're adding extra years. But here we go. Let's go into this comment section for the rest of the way. We're going to go crazy on the comments. Here we go. D-Mac, can we get the Mets? Edwin Diaz, J. Silva. I don't know if we can, and we probably can't, but I love that walkout song. The dun 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 dun. That's awesome. Bring Floro back, Diego. Yeah, he hasn't been terrible. Joe Crumble has a month to turn things around, or it's Blake time. That's from Joe. I think the thing with that, though, is if Blake Trinan can come back and resemble his old self, you want to keep him in that high leverage role. You want him to be that fireman that Dave Roberts can put out there in any situation. You don't want to lock him up to that 9th inning role, because sometimes games are lost in the 6th inning. Sometimes they're lost in the 7th or 8th inning, and you want to have him come in with runners on base against the meat of the lineup against the opposing team. So I would still keep Blake Trinan as their top high leverage guy, but you also have Evan Phillips and Yency Almonte. They've emerged this season. So here we go. Cooper can build power with Brown and Van Scoyoc. That's from Diego. That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers, like I said, everyone gives a lot of credit to Dr. Pryor, Mark Pryor. I call him Dr. Pryor because I think he's a doctor at this point, the way he can fix guys. And then you talk about Bard and Connor McGinnis. A lot of people give them credit, but also Robert Van Scoyoc. Yes, they can get to the bottom of some things and try to give Cooper some more power. Also, I mean, you talk about that cavernous stadium in Miami. I mean, it's definitely not a hitter's park. But yeah, Garrett Cooper definitely is a bat that could help this Dodgers team. I also worry about his positional versatility. I mean, he's a DH guy, a first base guy. We know that Freddie Freeman likes to play first. He doesn't like to sit very much. But here we go. Reynolds from the plate. By the way, the Dodgers did win tonight. Not that it doesn't matter. But they're 69-33. They win 8-2. All your questions have been about the trade deadline, but yeah, I mean, Max Muncie's 2-run shot. Will Smith had a big night, and we'll get into some of this. I mean, we get some of the scoring. I mean, I thought Andrew Heaney, I thought he struggled with command early on. I mean, talk about the bottom of the first inning. I mean, he had some command issues. I mean, he hit rough with a back foot slider. He gave the single to Flores, bunt single to Gonzalez on that bang-bang play that they reviewed. The Dodgers didn't win. Then he walked VR with the bases loaded for their first run of the night. And then, yeah, I think for the most part, though, 7 strikeouts. The swing and miss was there on that slider. I like the way he used that elevated four-seam fastball. So I think Heaney, for the most part, he had a good night. But here we go, guys. We're actually over an hour. So, yep, guys, we're going to be back with you guys tomorrow. Look out for videos all throughout the day. Anything that breaks, you are going to see it on the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. Let's do a rapid-fire session here. Any chance of Soto, Doug, or zero shot? There's definitely a chance, David. Anytime you have Andrew Friedman and an organization that has all the assets and the commitment to winning, there's absolutely a chance. But is Rick Honeycutt still involved with the Dodgers pitching? Yeah, he actually is. He's not there every day, but there's still communication there for sure. Need a closer. SCL loaner, best winning percentage, LA Dodgers. Freeman's on fire. Yeah, Freddie Freeman. What more can you say about Fredericks of Hollywood? Freddie franchise. I mean, he's been outstanding all season long. Today he goes 3 for 5 again and had a double, had 2 RBIs. Yeah, Freddie Freeman, he's a menace on the base pass. He's making defensive plays. Yeah, he's just been really, really, really solid. I mean, beyond solid. He's played at an all-star level. He's been everything the Dodgers had hoped he would be, and then some. I mean, Freddie Freeman has been one of the best players in the league. He leads the league now with 36 doubles. So, yeah, I mean, Freddie Freeman's been outstanding. So, yeah, I mean, just that's another guy. I mean, I think it's funny that people say, "Oh, don't." I mean, how could the Dodgers get this guy? I mean, look at the track record and look at the guys they've picked up in recent years. But yeah, 36 doubles now for Freddie Freeman on the season, leads the team in so many different offensive categories. But yeah, I mean, he's just been fantastic. And yeah, there was that little point where he had the issue with, going back to Atlanta, going through some emotions. Some Dodger fans had issues with that, but he didn't blink, and he continued to produce, and, yeah, he's been nothing short of a beast. He now leads the Dodgers with a 945 OPS. He's hitting .328 on the season, 36 doubles, 15 home runs, 16 RBI. He's just a great player. What more can you say? He's posting each and every day. He's been sensational. But why didn't we get Montas? Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty nice haul for Montas, and I think the Yankees, they had to get their guy. I mean, they lost out on Castillo. A lot of people thought that Castillo was going to be in pinstripes, but he ends up in Seattle, and give Seattle a lot of credit too. I mean, they're very aggressive. They haven't been in the postseason since 2001. I mean, come on now. Shrek, Legally Blonde, the Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone. Those are the years those movies came out, and that's how long it's been, before the iPhone, before all that stuff. So they had to find a way to get in the postseason. So, yeah, I think Frankie Montas is a guy. Look, we used to have him, right? We used to have Frankie Montas. Should never trade him, right? Should have included him in that deal for Rich Hill and Josh Reddick. No, he was fantastic for the Dodgers, was Dick Mountain. But, yeah, if you look at the Yankees, they gave their number 5, number 10, number 20, and number 21 prospects. The Dodgers, they could have matched that, but I think the Dodgers, when you look at the timetable of that deal and some other guys they're involved with when it comes to the Pablo Lopez's, the Ian Happs, the Brandon Drury's, J.D. Martinez's, and, of course, the biggest fish of them all, Juan Soto, who is one in a million. And I think that the Dodgers said, hey, we're comfortable with the starting pitching that we do have. And I just think it's pretty interesting because I think Montas is a guy that, yeah, I think he could have a lot of success. I mean, since he doubled his splitter usage, really has been a top 5 to 10, pretty much a top 10 pitcher in baseball over the last year. But here we go. We got thanks, brother, for dedicating your life to the LA Dodgers. Thanks, I appreciate you, man. I'm a junkie for this stuff, man. We got how did the hamburger introduce his girlfriend? Meet Patty. I love that. You got the comment of the night too. Yankees overpaid for Montas, Anthony Keene. They definitely did. I mean, but that's the thing. The way this market is, everything really isn't overpay. And I think that the results at the end of the season will be a better way to evaluate these deals, because if you made it as far as you wanted to, if you won the World Series, then there's no such thing as an overpay. Because what price would you pay to win a piece of metal, right? To win the Commissioner's Trophy. But here we go. What happened to that? I talked to some people, and that was, I probably should jump the gun on some insider stuff there, but yeah, man, screenshot next time. Hey, look what I always do. What I always do is anytime you see a tweet that you might think there's any chance it gets deleted, just take a screenshot, and you'll have it forever. The internet is forever. I can't believe they traded Clevenger, our future closer. Not. That's from Steven. Yeah, I mean, they got Tapia. They got Tapia, the 18-year-old, and really it's about clearing that roster spot. Like I said, so many guys on that IL. But, is Danny Duffy going to pitch? That is the plan, Michael. Danny Duffy is making his way back, and that's another guy that could come back and have a – look, either way, it's going to feel like the Dodgers made moves no matter what. The Dodgers could trade for no one tomorrow. In a few weeks, you're going to see a team that is a completely new team in a lot of respects. If they do get Blake Trinan and a Dustin May who comes back and contributes, and Walker Buehler at some point in September, Edwin Rios, lots of guys coming back that could really have an impact. So this team, the complexion of this team is going to change tremendously. But Braves getting rid of Smith is interesting. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I was a little shocked by that one. We got the Braves. We got I don't have the numbers, but has Muncie not been hot in the last couple of games? I mean, look, Max Muncie, he has been, a lot of you guys want to bat him 10th this season because of the year he's had, a 626 OPS, hitting 162. But, yeah, I mean, think about Max Muncie and what I always kind of revert to in evaluating him. And to answer your question, he's 4 for his last 21 over his last 6 games. So a double and a home run. I think with Max Muncie is, ideally you'll see him come out of his slump in the postseason just like Cody Bellinger did last year for the Dodgers, because Max Muncie is a player that he's had success in the postseason. And, I just think that for him is it something health-related? And when it's that, it's tough to truly evaluate players because you don't really see players, the Chris Davis types, that does happen, but a drop-off this swift from Max Muncie, who was an all-star last season. I mean, we're talking about a guy that has an 881 career postseason OPS. He's a guy that's hit 9 home runs in the postseason. He can really help this team if he finds a way to get back to where he was. I mean, he's a guy that's not going to hit 300. He's a guy that's going to go up there, take his walks, and occasionally slug, and that's what they need from him. But Dodgers need new blood. That's from BC. A couple more here, guys, going a little extended on this show, but BC, LOL. Muncie should be benched after the Giants series. Joe, hey man, if they just play the Giants every game, he would be an MVP winner, right? Since you've been gone, trade Muncie. Breaking news: Dave Roberts still sucks from Just Bad. There you go. You get the burn of the night.
Finish him.
We got the Padres and Preller are desperate. Don't be surprised if they get Soto. Preller is on the hot seat. Moose 1032. I mean, look, Preller is a guy that, I'm pretty sure he just signed a new deal not that long ago, and I think that, I think really it comes down to, like I said, we went kind of over some of their packages with Abrams and Hassel the third, Marone, James Wood, Jackson Merrill. It definitely didn't help their cause that Mackenzie Gore is out for a few weeks with an elbow injury if they were going to include him in a deal. But, I think that the Dodgers, their prospects are superior to the Padres prospects. They have some high ceiling guys. There's no question about that. But, you're talking about an Adrian Morjon coming off a TJ. He might be a number 3 starter. But Roberts for Soto straight up. Yeah. Hey man, I think they would do that deal, right? As much as I want Soto on the Dodgers, I think he is going to throw all the speculation rumors out of the windows and stay on the Nats. Look, I've spoken to a lot of people that cover the Nationals in DC, and a lot of them feel the same way you do, in that they won't deal him because he's it's such a massive decision for an organization to trade a franchise player, a franchise pillar. And you look at what the Angels do and what Artie Moreno does with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, saying, hey, we're still going to make money, we're still going to sell season tickets and get sponsorship deals, having these fantastic superstars on teams that aren't going to have very much success or be World Series contenders. And maybe if you're that new ownership group, you say to yourself, hey, I want Juan Soto, because there's an ownership changeover. But based on everything you see, everything I've heard, everything I've read, everything I've most insiders are on the same page when it comes to, they think that they've gotten the mandate from ownership to trade Juan Soto and get the best package they can for him and try to maximize their return. Because on the flip side, if you're a new ownership group, do you really want to buy a team and the first thing you have to do is trade the Childish Bambino and have the curse of the Childish Bambino on your record? I think if I was going to buy the Nationals, I would say, hey, if that's what has to happen, let you do my dirty work for me, and then we'll turn a new page when I become the owner. But here, guys, a couple more, and we're going to head out of here. Like I said, thanks for rocking with us on a trade deadline eve special here on the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. You guys like my new set? It's a little darker. We're going live tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I'll be doing videos throughout the day. Also be going live a few times along with Clint and the rest of the staff here at Dodgers Nation. So for sure, look for me. Clean slate. Yeah, go with the clean slate, right, Sonny? Yes. Soto would help us keep Turner as well because of the friendship. Yeah, we kind of talked about that a little earlier. Who the hell turns down a $440 million deal anyway? Peek a peek. Yeah, I think that you don't look at it as a $440 million deal. Look at it as a $29.9 million deal per year, and that's what he was turning down. I mean, who knows how much $29 million will be worth, 15 years from now. And I think that you could look at it as, the way I've kind of gone back and forth on this one too. Now that you bring it up, is yeah, sure, it was a 15-year deal for $440 million. You break that up, you're talking about a little over $29 million per year in AAV. But really, are those last 3 years on that deal, are they really expecting anything out of that? Because you talk about his age, he'll be 38 years old. The last 3 years, 35, 36, 35, 36, 37, 38, he could still be a productive player. But if I'm Juan Soto, I'm saying, okay, well, why don't we just kind of make it like 440? We'll kind of see the last 3 years as just a way to sweeten the deal. And you look at it as a 12-year deal for $440 million is a $36.6 million AAV. But yeah, to answer your question, if someone offered me $440 million, my girl would wake me up in the middle of the night. She'd, splash water on me saying, you better sign that damn contract. But hey, man, if everything works out for him, Scott Boras clearly has designs of signing the first $500 million contract in baseball history, and I think that is the goal. But will you sleep tonight, D-Mac? Probably not. I'm just gonna maybe just sit here and just rest my eyes until the morning, then we'll get it popping. But yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's tough to you guys know that this is basically like Christmas for people like me because look, it's just so exciting. I mean, even if the player doesn't go to the team that you want him to go to, it's just the player mobility movement. It's just crazy to me that you can make a move that can change the course of your franchise's history. I mean, I hate to bring up the Trastros, but look at the Trastros getting Justin Verlander off the waiver wire, and that leads to a World Series championship, or he was a key cog in that role. So, yeah, the moves that could be made tomorrow, the moves that have been made in the last week, they're going to change the balance of this season. I mean, Luis Castillo with the Mariners, Frankie Montas with the Yankees. I mean, this is big business stuff. But here we go, guys. A couple more, and we will be out of here. Doug, D-Mac, Jeff liked my Twitter post but didn't share link to watch party. How come? Jeff who? BC. Let me know. Jeff Hassan. Tuesday, trade deadline. Okay, cool. Great show. D-Mac, Doom _Sal. Yeah. D-Mac MVP every season by D-Mac. Thank you, guys. Hey, man, it's great to be back here. Thanks, D-Mac, for the post-game chat. Always the best. Thanks, guys, as always, man. I can sit here and hang out with you guys all night long, but hopefully you guys are ready to roll for tomorrow. Get some sleep. It's going to be crazy. Tomorrow, load up on Red Bulls, Mountain Dews, Baja Blast, coffee, crack if you want. I mean, if that's your thing. Whatever it may be. We know that AJ Preller is probably, doing that booger sugar right now in a head full of blow trying to get deals done. Hey, man, your friend's colleague. Okay, cool. No Soto, forget Soto outfielder. Tomorrow's the day from Orlando. Good night. But yeah, thanks, guys. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA for all latest Dodgers news and rumors all season long. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I agree with you, MH. Don't do drugs, kids. Best advice. Good show. Go Dodgers. Thank you. Outman has arrived, folks. Need a Mexican pizza with that Baja Blast Dylan Hair. Every time I go, it's out. Every Taco Bell gone throughout the city. We'll talk about that another time. Booker Sugar. Hey, Gary A. Azucar time. You guys are always good for a laugh. I feel like Vesia does crack before going on the mound. Okay, this show's falling off the rails. Let me try to land this plane right here. My name is D-Mac. Like I said, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. Cheese gorditas are fire. No Soto from Jose. Subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. See you guys tomorrow. Remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodgers baseball. And until next time, think blue. Wow, love you back. Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
It's time for